Trey 711, the Deuce and the Nine. Hoover Hey Coach Enthusiast, is your host, Big Bubble, and I'm back welcoming everyone to an exciting episode of Under the Groove, the Hoover Story. Well, it's exciting for me, and I'm hoping that our first guest's energy proves to be just as exciting on Under the Groove as he relates his story to you guys. Today we begin with none other than the founder and creator of not just 7-4, but of the Hoover Crips themselves. That's right, Coach Enthusiast. The Hoover story begins with the right man, and that's this man right here, Mr. Joseph Stanley, the legend known as Hoover Joe. So welcome, OG. It's an honor to have you grace our podcast's very first episode with your presence. I have to say that this is definitely a first as much as it is an enviable position to be in, well, at least for me. You know what I mean? I can imagine all those who would love to have this opportunity, man, to interview you, man, and pick your brain, get that information that a lot of people hunger for, I want to know about out there, man. But
Right.
before we start, man, I want to give you an opportunity to enlighten the people, man, of your whereabouts briefly and the circumstances surrounding your present condition. So go ahead, brother, lay into it.
Yeah, first I want to say, Big Bub, man, it's an honor, man, to be graced with this stage, man. To be honest with you, I mean, over the years, a lot of people have been approaching me concerning different projects, but I hadn't been feeling the energy. But I do feel this energy, and it's a pleasure for me as well. Unfortunately, to answer your question, man, briefly as possible, I'm serving 2 life without sentences right now. And a smorgasbord of other charges. You know how they do, just for good measure.
They pile it on.
Top it on, 25 to life for this, 50 years aggregated. I mean, after the 2 life without sentences. What's that designed for? I have no idea. Maybe for you to go insane, but I'm not built that way. We're not built that way. So I'm still struggling, bro. So far as the details are concerned, I am disappointed about some forthcoming information. I'm wrongly accused, falsely accused, and there are those out there that know that and could offer a more assistance and be more accommodating for me. But why they haven't, I have no idea. But the journey continues, bro, and that's all I'm prepared to disclose at this juncture. But more will be forthcoming. I'd like to give a shout out to those that know exactly who I'm talking to. Where's the love in it, man? Where's the love? That's all I'll say about that.
Well, man, I just hearing that, man, it kind of affects you. Anybody with some sense, man, would say, "Oh, wait a minute, man, if this is going on, and this brother is saying this, that, and the third, man, yeah, this need to be dealt with or looked into at the very least." So, hey, man, I want the people to know that we're going to afford you an opportunity, man, to delve further, into this situation concerning your present condition, man, your circumstances. But in order for y'all out there to get knee deep in the experiences and lives of not just this legend, but all the Hoover legends, young and old, man, y'all need to hit that subscribe button, that like, share, and comment. Follow Under the Groove, man, the Hoover story, to keep up with the latest of what this journey has to offer. So, yeah, throughout the course of this interview, I would like everybody to know also that I'll be addressing Mr. Stanley as Hoover Joe. That's it. That's all. And if that's all right with you, Joe, let's get into this momentous occasion, man. Let's make this happen.
Let's go.
All right. So, yeah, man, here we are, man. And like I said, man, it's an honor, man. And you and I, we've been talking over the months, man. We've been trying to, put this thing together, get this thing right, man.
Away, bro.
Hey, man, I have to say, though, I've gained a lot from you, man. We dealing with the kinks of this shit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And in between that, man, you and I have conversations from A to Z, man. Everything under the sun, man, we didn't mostly discussed.
Absolutely.
So, I like I said, man, I appreciate it, man. And I've gotten a lot out of it, man. As an individual, man, I think you're solid, man. I don't see no fake. I don't see that BS. You know what I mean? I don't, and you ain't gave it to me. One thing I appreciate about you, man, that, it's hard to appreciate out here on these streets is the forthrightness. How frank you are, how sincere, you speak your piece, man. You speak your mind, and not in a way that would throw someone, off or make them feel like, oh, I can't talk to him. This dude, you know what I mean? Your approach on things, man, it's some adult shit. It's some grown
Absolutely.
man shit, man, and I respect that, man. So, just this whole put this thing of trying to put this together, man. Us going through what we've been going through to get this thing right, man. It was meant to be. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Because it provided you and I time to just have discussions about a little bit of everything, man. So
It's
I appreciate.
interesting that you mentioned that, bro, because a lot of people see the outcome when you shining, but they don't see the journey.
They don't see the
There's
journey,
this
man.
there's this Latin saying, and it's indigenous to Kansas. It's ad astra per aspera. Through the thorns to the stars.
Okay.
They don't see the struggles,
Yeah, I got
but they see you when you shining, and they want to jump on board.
man.
But go ahead, my brother.
Oh yeah, so yeah, this has been one of them journeys, but
Yes, sir.
again, I appreciate through them thorns, all them scratches and them pricks and all that shit, man, to get to what I've been getting to get what I've gotten from you, or the
Absolutely.
interaction with you, man. It's priceless, man.
Iron sharpens iron, bro.
Iron sharpens iron, man. I
Yeah.
talked to some of the homies, man, about not all our conversations, but I enlightened them on a little. I mean, man, y'all need to talk to Joe, man.
Yes,
Y'all need
sir.
to talk to Joe, man. Just talk to Joe, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of them like, hey, man, I love to. So I'm saying that to say, yeah, a lot of cats want to talk to you. Just so you know
Absolutely.
that. So whenever you give me the green light, let cats, you get their number to get to you. I'm gonna do that. So
Okay.
yeah, man. Let's get into this again, man. So what's your age, man?
I'm at the ripe age, young bub, of 66 years old, bro.
You're 66, and you call you
66.
young bub. I'm 59, but I have to say, in your case, man, in your case,
Yeah.
I'm out here on these streets, man, and I
Yeah.
see cats. I know their age. Can't hold a candle to you, man. These dudes, not taking care of themselves. There's a lot
Let's
going
let
on with them,
let's
man. And you
let's just call it what it is, though. When they threw in money.
man, they threw, man, and it looks bad, man. It looks bad, man. But 66, man, that's nothing to sneeze at, man. So again, I know you got a plethora, just this library, man. That I want to go, I want to attend, I want to go in here, man. They put these books out, man. Open these books, man, and allow me and the audience, man, to get what you got, man. To get
Well,
a
let's
piece
get
of
it.
what you got. So you're 66, man. You've been in California your whole life?
No. Actually, I came to California in about 1959.
Okay.
Just briefly, I was born in Alabama. It was a small town right outside of Mobile, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And most people that's been through grade school heard of the book To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah.
It was written by the late Lowell Harper Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And she and I share the same hometown, which is called Monroeville, Alabama.
Okay.
And we came out here. Me and a single mom came out here in 1959. As I was talking about different mottos for different states, Alabama has a motto also, and it's in Latin. It's Artemis Jura Nostra Defendere. We dare defend our rights. So we came with that great migration towards the north and the west to get away from those rural areas and under that kind of draconian system.
Right. Jim Crow and all that other shit that existed. Okay. So Joe, tell me about growing up, man. How was that growing up, man? What was that like?
Well, my upbringing was basically matrilineal. So
Okay.
there's a bunch of, on my mom's side, a bunch of strong women that contributed to my upbringing.
Let me throw this in there. Matrilineal, man. That's the family structure being led or ran by the woman. For a lot of those that don't get what the matrilineal is, it's the opposite of patriarchal. If I said that correctly, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything contributing to my upbringing was on my mom's side. I never knew my dad. I guess, in short, man, what I'm saying? I was born a bastard,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, just it is what it is,
By the definition. Yeah, the definition says
definitely.
So, right.
It's all love, though,
Man, for real. So you guys, when you got here from Monroeville, Alabama,
right.
You arrived on Hoover. I mean, where'd you guys land?
Actually, I have one childhood memory at the early age of 2 years old, man. It's just,
Mm.
it replays itself in my mind over and over. I don't
Okay.
know why. And I
Okay.
can tell you, Big Bub, whenever we got here, it was cold because
Okay.
I had on one of those hats with the earmuffs or
Yeah.
something on it,
Oh, I'm a
and
fur hat.
a big thick gray wool coat, man. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So
Okay.
it was cold, but no, we didn't move directly on 74th and Hoover. I think we lived in some projects, whatever one was around at that time. Don't quote me on this, but it might have been Dogtown or something.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
one of the older projects that was in existence
Okay.
right around 1959.
Okay. And so
And
they
from there to Hoover,
to Hoover. From there to
74th.
Hoover. All right.
So
74th. Right.
I would safely say that I moved to 74th and Hoover, and this may sound ironic, but when I was 4 years old.
For the folk.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of people ain't gonna get that. You know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
foe, man.
That's right.
You know, let me throw this in here real quick. A lot of people when they talk about 7-4, they say 7-4. And
Yeah,
you know, I
it's
don't,
okay.
and that's fine, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
7-4.
But it's like people coming from different regions and learning a new
A new
language.
language. Right,
You could
right,
tell
right,
that they're not right there in the tribe,
right,
by
right.
the way they pronounce it. In
For
fact, I
for
think I
sure.
shot you a word before you did something for me, and we had a conversation by text, and I just put in there spasiba. And
Yeah,
I
Russian.
think you looked it up
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. I hit you back with oh my God. It was thank you in Russian though.
No, yeah, I said
Yeah.
thank you, and you said you're
Oh
welcome.
yeah, there you go. You're welcome.
Yeah,
That's what I did say.
I think you wrote out the transliteration, but it's actually a little symbol in there that kind of smooths out the word. It's
Okay.
pajusta.
That's
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah,
Lower.
but I like to say, man, you and I have been talking on so many levels, man, about so much stuff that, anytime it's not a digression. We don't digress. For a lot of y'all who don't get this, man, this is just our conversation is like this, man. We'll touch on a little bit of everything, man. And that Russian, that's just an example of, how we interact, man. But look, so you hit the foe at
Yes,
the
sir.
age of 4, and so you coming up, man. I take it, you end up meeting cats, young dudes like yourself around there, man, and
Yeah.
you guys, you friends,
Right.
Can you give me some names, man?
Yeah, let me just preface it by saying that, my childhood wasn't like just a normal childhood. I was
Okay,
at some point in time I started having other siblings come along.
okay, good guy.
And me being the oldest, I had to assume responsibilities that nor did I want or were ready for, but they were just, forced upon me. So I guess in the brief description, it was like becoming a man child just
Okay,
right away.
yeah. This
You know,
responsibility, this
Yeah,
was
exactly.
pushed on you, put in your
Yeah.
lap. Yeah, got it.
So whenever I had an opportunity to be a kid, man, I did normal kid things. We turned flips in the alleys on old mattresses that were discarded. We shot marbles. We caught butterflies and fed them to spiders. And,
Two spiders.
you know, we caught rabbits running around and threw them in the backyards of vicious dogs
Yeah,
and watch them tear them apart. Just a little entertainment type things that kids do.
yeah. I can relate
Yeah,
to
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I didn't understand anything about animal cruelty, and
Right.
so forgive me for that, you
But
guys.
again, it's something that as kids we done. So I'm after you, of course.
Yes,
But everything you just spoke on as a kid,
yes.
actually done.
I'm like you had some of the same similar experiences, man. I guess it's generational.
I told you, man. You were before me. So everything you're talking about, I can relate to. I promise you, man. I promise you. And there's probably a lot more you could tell us that a lot of us would be like, oh hell yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh I remember
Yeah.
them times,
Yes, sir.
and all this was occurring as a child. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is what, some of the things we had to do, man, and it was all a part of the survival.
Absolutely.
What we had to do to make it through, man.
Absolutely.
We
But to
became
finish
participants.
but to finish answering your question, as a kid, man, I knew that things were a little bit different.
Mm.
And when I say that, there was a lot of social differences, cultural differences.
Right.
I got a lot of hate, and I couldn't identify it as hate. I knew it was just something, a vibe that I felt from the police around that time.
Okay.
Because I was a young kid.
I was about to
Pardon me?
interject. You hate from who? But you just enlightened us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it felt like they had something against me as a little kid. We had to run all the time when we seen them, and I never understood that.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we see in the movies they were friendly and helpful, and it wasn't like that.
Never.
It wasn't like that.
I've never experienced that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that it was that part of my childhood, and then I don't know about your household, but we weren't the richest. In fact, we were poor.
Come on, man.
We were poor.
Come on.
We had a lock and chain on our refrigerator. I remember that. Yeah, a lock and a chain. I'm talking about a thick chain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I first started realizing, hey, man, if I want to eat, I got to learn how to hustle. Because after a while, moms figured out that we was getting on top of the refrigerator with the clothes hanger and had that little bitty gap.
Yeah.
I could fish out the bologna. You know what I'm saying? It was hard because at that time, the bologna was thick, loved one. You can go down to the store. Yeah, you go get 5 cent, 50 cent worth of bologna. Man, I had to chip away at that bologna to tear a piece off of the clothes hanger. I mean, come on, man. That hustling shit started, man, just like with the glamour that they see. Man, and when moms figured that out, we had to take that hustle outside. Out. If we want to feed ourselves.
That's a cold analogy from that hustle, how you described that to eat.
Yeah.
To transitioning outside, going out that door.
I had to go out the door to really get it, man.
Hey, man, but that's some real shit, man. And excuse my language, but that I can relate. I can relate.
Yeah.
And just right quick on that point, dealing with the bill collector or whatnot, man.
Yes, sir.
How bad we had it. We didn't have no lights sometimes.
No.
We didn't have no
We had that long extension cord, though.
Our neighbor would hook us up.
Yeah.
You know
that part.
We didn't have no water. You know what I mean, man? So I can relate, man. And like I said, man, anybody that come up back in them times, and it could have been the 60s or the 70s, even in the 80s, know what we talking about, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Talking about.
Yeah. Ahead, so many things that you say provoke thoughts, man. I don't want to go on a tangent or anything because I know we have to stay focused on certain things. We only have a limited amount of time. Here they give us 15-minute increments on this phone.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want to, I don't want to exhaust all that resource.
And let me throw this right here for the audience so they can understand something. And not only is our time limited, it's in increments. Like I said, 15 minutes.
Right.
The system also, y'all might hear a little crackling or whatnot, man. Hey, man, you know what? We grooving through that, man. If it ain't too bad, we'll cut it off and start another, another cycle. But just so y'all know, man, that's the connection with Joe and I, man. That's what we've been going through. Some of what we've been going through. So
go ahead, some of it. Yeah, that doesn't even tip the hat, man. But on the water issue, it just brought back a thought about how we used to wash our clothes in the bathtub. The washboard, man. Washing machine.
Wow.
Come on, man.
So yeah, man, those experiences, man, are something a lot of us, I'm quite sure, can relate to. Just the struggles as children, as kids growing up, man. What do you call it? Manchild, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, man, that's something that's something that we can all relate to, man, and point to as part of our growing up, coming up. So other than that, man, there's that. And, like I said, that's not just something to brush aside, just, casually, like it never happened. That, it was what it was. A lot of us dealt with it. We lived with it. So you took your hustle outside, man. Tell me about that.
Yeah, man. We had to take that hustle outside. And so I'm talking about now between the age of like 4 and 5 years old.
Okay.
So I met different people, man. Got around to meeting some of the people that were extended family. In sociology, they're called fictive kin. FICTIVE,
Okay.
kin.
Yeah.
It's like extended families,
Okay.
godparents, that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But they were just not related biologically by blood,
Mm-hmm.
but they were more so brothers and sisters than even some of the ones that are related by blood.
Right.
And I started formulating those kind of relationships with young cats in the neighborhood, as well as a couple of females.
Yeah.
One that I love dearly, and I wish I could find her. Her name is Darlene. Her name was Darlene Walker, man. I'll never forget her. We was kids doing everything together.
Yeah.
Turning flips, she was out there too. Doing the same thing. But it would be a travesty if I didn't mention Lawatha. This was Timora's sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was one of the loved ones. Rest in peace.
Right.
You met him.
Right.
The other sister named Lawatha. Man, she was a tough cookie, man. But I'm gonna let TC. I think you're gonna be interviewing him, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna let him tell that story because I didn't know he had wheels like that until I seen Lawatha back of him one day.
Had him running.
Had him running up and down the alley, man.
He was trying to cars, make sure she'll creep up on him. I can't wait to have that conversation, man.
Yeah, it was an interesting childhood coming up.
Okay.
But I met guys like as kids, Tony C, Serrano. There was Timor, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
There was Calvin K Dub.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rest in peace. Bootsy, we called him the first Bootsy. He had a couple of names, Bootsy, but also Puppet, the first Puppet.
Yeah.
That was Bruce Boosby. Then Robert Battle. And we talked about Battle before. He's the reason that my knuckle game is up to date. You know what I'm saying?
Battle, yeah. But you had to get the hands right. Yeah.
yeah. We kind of conflicted over women and that kind of thing as we grew,
Right.
But they were there in the infancy of Hoover,
Mm-hmm.
There was the guys that were just around in the infancy of that whole movement that became later the juggernaut that we know of it,
Right.
And I don't say that with any glory or trying to be grandiose or anything like that.
Right.
But it is what it is, and I got to tell the story.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So those were some of the guys around. I cannot mention on the other side of Hoover also there was Buzzard, there was James Ford, there were a lot of other cats like that.
Just to be sure, these are guys you guys grew up with as kids.
It's kids.
Okay, got you.
Yes, kids. Tony Sims. I mean, there was a Leo. Roland.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of kids around.
And so the audience understands you. This was before your formative your game banging years.
Exactly.
Okay.
We were
years before game banging.
It's interesting though that you mentioned that, and it's ironic as well because when we get around as kids, and it's a number of us, we're a gang. But a gang somewhere else, in a more affluent type of geographical area, they're cronies or they're just a bunch of friends. But they were calling us Hoover boys, those Hoover boys, but they didn't mean it as a gang.
As a gang, got you.
We used to always, rip and run. They say up and down Hoover, the old folks saying, it was that kind of thing.
Okay.
But a lot of predatory things going around. Figueroa was right there. We're between Hoover and Figueroa. There's a lot of predators out there that were, robbers, you name it, man. People that want to do you some harm.
Yeah.
So when we first detected those kind of dangers, of course, we band together to have each other's back and,
right.
Other things ensued behind that.